Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Everyday Arborist podcast. My name is Cam, and we've been gone for a while, but here we are again after TCI Expo. And this week I have the honor to host Jaime Merritt and Morgan Thompson. And I'll say hey to those guys. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to run into you again, Jaime. And Jaime, you introduced Morgan to me at the Rock Exotica booth at TCIA, so that was good to meet you, Morgan. I guess we'll get started off with how you guys enjoyed TCI Expo. Did you have any fun run-ins with people or like unique experiences?
I thought this one was good. I liked it. It had. I mean, sometimes it feels a little slow, and sometimes it feels a little hectic. This one felt kind of just right, I think. And with the Akimbo 2 and the Akimbo 1's been out for a long time, so there's always some interesting people that come by and, either they love it and they've been running it forever, or they hate it and they can't figure it out, But yeah, it's always fun to like find that one person who's obsessed.
Yeah.
And kind of maybe help them out or just talk to them for a minute, There's always somebody. I mean, I don't know, Morgan, if you remember the guy, I think he was from Costa Rica. He's one of the dealers for Rock Exotica. He's the guy that he was like taking pictures with us. He's always like, come over here, let's take a picture, everybody together. He's super enthusiastic about like everything Rock Exotica. He's like, yeah, this and that. It's like, he's really fun. So there's a couple of people like that. It's like you see them. So.
Yeah, I agree. This year seemed like it. I don't know. It's one of those things where when you kind of look at the time, it's like, man, where'd the time go? It seemed like it was just constant activity and great conversations, and yeah, boy. At the end, you kind of realize like, oh, I can hardly feel my feet, and my spine muscles hurt.
You know what I thought about was you get kind of jealous, like where the most expensive equipment is sold is where they put like the thickest floor matting, so you stand there the longest. You go over by the really expensive cranes and go stand on their floor mat. So,
right, yeah,
that's genius. Yeah.
Well, they've got all the money too. It's like you got to pay extra for those pads, right, at your booth. So like there were years when we didn't have the pads at Rock Exotica, and it was like, God, this floor sucks. It's so hard. Your heels hurt. And so like finally it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna pay for the padding. And I can assume those guys they got money to pay for the big padding, the nice padding.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that one monster machine? Like it's kind of like right off when you walked into the right. It's like an emerald green, and it's it's got like 4 massive wheels and then like the giraffe chipper on top. I mean, that thing was insane.
Yeah. That was at the last one too. Maybe even the one before that. They bring that in. It's like, it's a big showpiece. It's like, oh yeah, look at that. Get everybody drooling.
Like road clearance or something. Like you could never really drive that off pavement. I feel like it would just sink out of sight. So massive.
Yeah, or big like.
Yeah, I think there's a company. Like, I don't know where they're out of.
It was like for big row crops, like tree farm situation, like big harvesting operations, something like that.
Yeah, I think there's a company called Distinctive Tree Care. I don't know where they're out of, but they do like interstate projects where you can't really impede on traffic at all. And so I think that thing is like perfect because you can like make a big mess on the shoulder. And I think that thing just goes along the shoulder and like picks stuff up and jams it in there. So
yeah,
makes sense.
A lot safer than chipping right there by the tray. So yeah.
Right.
Target audiences for that, like who's gonna go there and buy one of them? Well, like
right at TCI, just like
out of sight,
impulse purchase. It's like, oh wow, that's nice. I'll take it. I'll take 2. Yeah.
I run a pruning company, and I really want to chip a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man. That's wild. Well, we got to hear a little bit from Jaime the last time he was on about how he got into tree work and his upbringing and some of his experiences. But Morgan, we got to chat a little bit about the booth and super fascinating hearing what you're a part of up there. But maybe share with us where you're from, how you got into tree work, a little bit, maybe about your upbringing. So yeah, take it
Sure.
away.
All right. It was a long time ago. Let's see. I'll try to give you the quick version. I grew up in Virgil, New York, which is like, we joke that it's a one horse town and we had the horse. It was definitely small, and it was, you just have to the drive to town just to get groceries was a haul. My parents were kind of back to the landers, kind of hippie, kind of homesteading, I guess. Like, it was kind of a subsistence farm where we had cows and chickens and all the other animals, but all just on a small scale. It's pretty good. I liked it. Growing up, we didn't have a lot of material things, but it was 180 acres, and you could just head off into the woods and
Wow.
come back when you're hungry. So that was pretty good. And then I guess the tree work thing. So my dad did pulpwood for a while, where he's up in the state land that was just behind our property, and taking down pulpwood trees and bringing them out to the road, and then a big grapple truck would come and pick them up, and that was when my eyes are as big as saucers. Like, oh man, that's fun. But I wasn't really, I was young enough that I wasn't really allowed to come join in the woods, which killed me. Like, I just wanted to be, out there with him. I was too young, and I think that might have been the thing that kind of planted the seed. Nothing worse than to be told no. So I guess, so see, there was a bunch of crabapple trees, with the long spikes up behind our house, and I kept testing my dad, hey, can I use this little chainsaw and go, you got something to do. I don't know how old I was, probably, I don't know, 13. And he was like, well, you can go crash around in those crabapple trees. It'd be fine if they disappeared. And I just started whittling on them. It was kind of, they were so wide and so short that when you felled one, it just didn't go very far.
Just stood straight up still.
Just like tips over 3 degrees and that's it.
Right, exactly. So I think my dad figured, like, he can't get in too much trouble with that. And maybe, I don't know what his logic was, but that was kind of that part. And then a couple of years later, I found a belt in a consignment shop. It was like a lineman's belt and some lineman's spikes. Well, I had no clue that you're supposed to have, it didn't have leg loops. It was just simply a leather belt. And this buck strap that went around that had, like, literally a buckle on the back. Like, to adjust it, you had to, like, advance a buckle. It was crazy.
Wow.
And the spikes, I didn't realize, on pole spikes are really short. Like, they don't need to go through the bark. So I, got permission from my dad to pick a tree, and that was my spiking tree. And I would go up and down, and then I think I got the Cheryl catalog, and that's when I was like, oh, look at these pictures, with these, just, well, remember that? They were like these little nicely
they had the little cartoons.
Caricatures, yeah. So I think that's where it really started. I was like, oh my gosh, look at all this cool gear, and started learning that way. And then I started buying, they were selling books, so I started buying the books and reading them, and then realizing, well, what I was doing was totally wrong. And let's see, the next thing that happened was that I finally did get it was kind of more of a rock climbing harness, which was terribly uncomfortable, but I think my uncle gave it to me. and I was doing, this is probably uh, high school time now, and I kept working on my mom, like, hey, I want to, I think I want to do this teamwork thing, but I don't know how to bid anything. I don't know what it's worth. So he helped me out, and he called the local and said, "Hey, can you come out and give me an estimate for one of these trees, just to get a like a sense of what." And
Yeah.
that guy was like, "Oh, it's like $500 or something," and my jaw dropped. Like, what? You can make $100? Are you kidding? So my first job was a Jaguar hickory, and I got my mom to come with me. So, that's what you do, I guess. And she had done some rock climbing, so her method, old school rock climbing where you put the rope kind of under your butt and you hold it. It's kind of like a manual belay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were bringing like limbs down on a manual belay. Totally
Oh.
sketchy. And she weighs all of 130 pounds all wet. So, but it learned a lot. I put a hole in that roof. So the learning curve was pretty steep, and I definitely didn't have like any proper mentor. But as it, one thing led to another, and it was like, then it kind of we had a Dodge 100, which we put stakes in the stake pockets, and we'd load all the brush into that, and then get back home and then unload it all. Oh, brutal.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was jazzed. I just loved it. So then I started kind of getting better gear from Cheryl Tree and doing, started like, it's amazing when you kind of start doing something like that and you're just a kid, how many people come out of the woodwork and want to support you, your local network of people, or, you get a list to do.
Yeah.
And so I finally got a dump truck. It was a Mitsubishi FG, which is that little snub nose cab over truck with a dump bed and 4-wheel drive. It's
Nice.
I still have that truck. I love it. And started the snowball of collecting equipment, and it's like a shoe problem. I think I just keep collecting. So that was what, 20 years ago. So now there's a lot of equipment in my driveway, much to the chagrin of my wife, Julia. There's an ongoing debate at our house. Exactly. It's like, is that a tool or a toy? There's a divide at our house.
Why not? Why not both? I can enjoy my tools, right?
Right.
Oh man. So what age was that when you were doing the first job that you had the hole in the roof incident?
Yeah, I was probably 17. By the time I'm climbing around up there, trying to
That's awesome.
figure it out. I had this crazy idea that I could use like a seatbelt connection to make like a quick rigging sling. Turned out that was a very bad idea. Shortly after that I realized, like, learned about a pulley and a dead eye sling, and like it was a good thing. A hard way to learn. Hard knocks. I feel like that's my MO, is hard knocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've told this story before on here, but my first experience with like trying to tie myself into a tree was I took my school backpack and one of my dad's like 25-foot orange extension cords, just like the ones that are really thin. And I think I was in middle school or something, and I just threw it over like the lowest branch of like a willow oak in the front yard, and there was a ditch in between our house and the street, and so like I somehow just made a bunch of like overhand shoe knots or whatever to go around the top handle of the backpack, and I would put the backpack on and jump from the high side of the ditch to the yard, and it worked probably two or three times, and I just remember the time that it didn't work, and it was
Yeah.
just like I hit the apex of the swing and the extension cord snapped, and I just went right into like the briars and the rocks, and so
Showing, I kind of love it. It's really
yeah.
kind of like
Right.
gonna make this work one way or the other. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think I told you like the first time I climbed on a rope, the first time I fell out of a tree because my mom she bought me a rock climbing harness and like a static rope and a bunch of carabiners and pulleys. And I had no idea. I didn't know what a Blake's hitch was. I didn't know there was such thing as a climbing knot, a prusik, anything. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like I can throw the rope over the tree, I can pull myself up, but then how do I get down? And I had a figure eight, I think, but I was like trying to wrap my brain around. I can tie the rope to the tree and I can get down, but then how do I get the rope out? So I came up with this scheme to like throw the rope over the limb, run it through a pulley, run it back over the limb, run it back to me, and I could lower myself out, and then I could pull everything out. Well, it's like as I'm lowering myself out, I grabbed the wrong leg of rope, and I just went like all the way down to the ground, flat on my back, because there was nothing stopping me, just me holding the rope. That was all that was stopping me. Still have that rope somewhere. It's like stiff as a cable.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
It goes like Z shape.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah, exactly. You
gosh.
can hold up like 6 feet straight in the air.
I feel like that kind of follows though. Like right from the beginning, you were coming up with like, kind of thoughtful or methods. Like how am I going to do this? And you never
Yeah.
stopped
Well, I
doing
mean,
that.
like it was
you
the Cheryl
continue
catalog,
that.
right?
That's
Like
pretty cool.
there was like when I got my first like actual like I worked for like 1 month with the local tree company, just kind of doing groundwork, and then I did other stuff, and I came back to it, and I was like, no, I want to do tree work. I found that local guy who's like, I think I told you, like a real sort of like yokel dude, right? Well, when I basically knocked on his door, and I was like, hey, I want to do tree work. He's like, well, can you tie a clovage? Can you tie a bowline? Okay, you're hired. And he gave me a list. He's like, you
Oh,
need
right.
like safety blue, half-inch line. You need a weaver saddle. You need these kind of spikes. You need these boots. You need the like 16-inch logger boots, and these carabiners. Like, okay.
It's
So
like this
I went out and I bought it all, and then immediately I'm just climbing on this terrible like weaver saddle with a Blake's hitch. I'm like, there's got to be a better way. Like this sucks. Like, my hips are crushed when we use my lanyard. Like, hip thrusting sucks. So like, the Cheryl Tree catalog was like, oh, here's the little minder pulley, and you could pull your slack, and here's like slings and prussiks and prusik cords and stuff. So immediately it was like, oh, there's lots of better ways to do this. It's not just, the way that he says, do it like this, And then like years later, I'm like, damn, these boots are hurting like, I ended up with knee problems because the damn boots weighed like 5 pounds a piece, So it's like, oh yeah, I don't need to wear these giant heeled like leather boots to climb in. I'm not spiking everything, I'm not like a lineman. I can just wear regular shoes. It's fine.
The heels are so big, your body's leaning forward constantly at like this angle.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was my knees hurt. It's like, why are my knees hurt? Oh, because I'm wearing 10 pounds of shoe. Like that's why. Like ankle weights.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the other like the tree buzz, the forums online was really
like, they don't really have like I guess it's a make up for the fact that pad is so lame or thin. It's like, oh, we'll just add a piece of leather with boot. It's like, man, no. Add padding and have a normal boot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like maybe too it was like partly like logging. You're doing a lot of walking around in the woods and the brush and briars and stuff that like protecting your calves and ankles is probably worth it,
Yeah, true.
having that leather there
Mm-hmm.
and some kind of like axe or saw protection, you hit yourself with an axe
Mm.
and you got some leather, that's, that's going to help.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
that's
just me guessing.
yeah. Yeah, I saw a pair of those big honker boots they had on the instep or up where your big toe is. They had a piece of metal that was crimped
Hmm.
onto the sole as
Yeah.
that's where your toes are constantly hitting the tree when you're in your spikes. It's like, wow,
Huh.
that's
I think
put the
the boots
metal where the
came with them.
wear is, I guess.
Wow.
I pulled that off. I think they came with the boot, and I
Really?
was like,
Yeah.
I didn't like it for some reason, and I took it off. But yeah, they had that little. It was like, this won't wear out.
For the long haul.
It was on
Yeah.
the inside
They
of the
did
heel?
It was like
inside of like
near the toe.
just behind your big toe. So if you imagine standing in
Yeah.
spikes, like the spike hits the tree, and then the part of your foot that is right behind your big toe, I don't know what that's called, where you get your bunions. That's the part that's hitting the
Uh,
tree other than the spike. So that's the part that kind of wears down a lot.
huh. Well, Morgan, you were mentioning you like to collect quite a bit of equipment in your driveway, and we talked about the effer crane that you have. Uh, so, do you have a favorite piece of equipment that you have in your arsenal at the moment?
That and that's probably my favorite, just because it was such a process to get it. I really had to, kind of stretch to get it, and I spent a lot of time researching and kind of following Mike Poor, who was kind of the grandfather of using knuckle boom cranes as we know them today. He was the first, and he would post on Tree Buzz, and it would just like blew my mind. I saw what he was doing, and he would float himself into the tree, and then he'd set the slings and rappel down. He'd tie into the stem and then make the cut, and then he would control the pick as it swung away down to his guys on the ground. And I was
Hmm.
just like blown away by that, and like
Yeah.
felt like that was the holy grail. Partly because I really enjoy, operating machinery, and I just like machinery in general.
Hmm.
But to have a machine that was that dynamic and and that he was doing all these calculations and pretensions, and he's just such an artist at it. And then
Yeah.
Mark Molsky, Allmark Tree Care, he's nearby me a couple hours. He's up in Albany, New York, and he also got the bug from Mike Poor, and he's really an analytical guy. So watching those guys, man, I really was, I really wanted that.
Hmm.
So working up to that crane, they have the big ones. Mike Poor had a 550 FS, and Hallmark, he had a 655, I think. Mine is a 310, so considerably lighter and smaller, but that's what
Yeah.
but it turned out to be a little bit of a blessing, because I've found in our area it's really steep terrain here. It's called the Finger Lakes region, and it's deep, long lakes, and the topography is very steep. So setting up a crane here is really challenging.
Hmm.
This crane has really short outriggers, which helps a lot when you're trying to level your truck. It's like the longer that outrigger it sticks out to the side, the more you got to crib it up, to be able to get semi-level. And with a shorter outrigger span, you can do a lot more.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been it's the right size for this area. Still, I dream about a bigger one, but I guess that's the that's the way it goes.
Do you do the grades from the houses go from like up here on the lake and kind of go like at a pretty steep angle down to the lake? Do they do that?
Yeah, actually a lot of the lake has sheer cliffs that go down to it. So
Oh man.
it's really like most there are a few places where you can get down to the lake, drive to the lake. There are a lot of the shoreline is just inaccessible. There's lifts and stairs and stuff, but you can't drive down there. So we spend a lot of time figuring out how to shoehorn our way in and get close
Yeah.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I always found that really unique working with the knuckle boom when you have like the crane at what feels like grade, and then you're also like working as the climber or like cutting from the ground, and you're even lower than the chassis of the
Right.
crane. That's always really weird feeling.
Over that sheer edge, you might be only 30 feet up in a tree, but you look down and it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
this feels some exposure.
Yeah.
Things go wrong, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, we have some bluffs like that on the coast here where you're like, yeah, you're 30 feet off the ground, but you're 100 feet off the ocean.
Yeah.
The beach is like
Right.
way down there.
I think you sent me one of those a video of that where it looked like it was a bit. But wait,
Yeah,
didn't
there have been
you
a couple
end up
jobs we did like
dropping
that.
something down there and you had to like rappel all the way down to retrieve it?
Yeah. Yeah. That was, I mean, it looked farther. That was only like maybe 60 feet down. And that was one of the houses.
Okay.
Like there's a whole stretch in Santa Cruz where they've like completely cemented the cliff, like gunite, sprayed concrete on it to stabilize it. And so that part was like, it's all concrete stabilized down to the water line. And it's kind of a big surf spot. So like some of the stuff we dropped down there, it's like, yeah, we got to clean that up. It's like there's a shit ton of surfers. It's pretty public.
Right.
But I think the video I sent you, I dropped my handsaw. I was like, damn it, I gotta go get my handsaw. And
But yeah.
but it also just happened to be like I had just gotten the first like CNC fully machined prototype of the Akimbo 2 from Rock Exotica. I was like, ooh, this is a good chance to like rappel down and try it out. Like, let's go, let's do it. But yeah, it was. I would rather have not had to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially with
Let's
how
see
like
if I-
expensive especially with how expensive hand saws are getting now. It's like $150, and then also they're like, they're made in Japan, so it feels like some fancy samurai sword. You're like, if I'm going to drop this thing, I'm going to get it. I'm not just going to leave it.
Yeah.
And I talked about this at TCIA. Like I have the handsaw that I sharpen it myself. So I'll have a handsaw, like the handle's probably like 5 years old, and I'll have a blade that lasts me like 3 years, something like that. So it's like if I drop it, like I better go get it. I'm not buying a new one yet.
Yeah. That you can those razor tooth teeth with the right file and dose of patience, you can bring those back pretty well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's never factory sharp, but it's pretty damn good.
Just wear one of those cutting gloves. It's like a chainmail glove.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought the Silky file, I think, from Arb Session a year or two ago, and it came in like this brown paper packaging with like Japanese writing.
Whoa.
And I almost wanted to put like a Karate Kid like headband on and be like,
oh yeah,
sharp,
wax on.
Yeah.
They make you can get like this is the Japanese like woodworking saw.
Wow.
They make the absolutely tiniest feather files for sharpening these. I've never tried. They're like super tiny. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, they have, you go to there's like a Japanese the Japantown in San Francisco. There's a Japanese hardware store. It's great. It's like there's so many cool little like chisels and like those little feather files and all kinds of cool little gizmos and gadgets in the Japanese
Hmm.
hardware store. You're like, ooh, what's that?
Oh
I
man.
want that. I don't need that, but I do want it.
Let's go there. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, I don't know if do you guys connect with Nick Araya on Instagram or like follow him on any of his stuff
I
or Nick
follow him.
Araya?
Sometimes.
I think I like his perspective. I don't know if I've met him in person.
He posted a video the other day of like comparing like 4 or 5 different Japanese saws, and one of them was a foldable one that was like maybe yay tall, and he was just showing like the difference of like cuts, and I was like, man, it makes me want to get get some
Yeah,
unique Japanese saw.
pocket
Really,
at all times.
I got a little one. It's a little pocket saw, a little folding saw. It's fun, like to take it out in the yard if I'm like in the orchard or something, and I
Yeah.
just want to
Yeah,
prune, a branch off the apple tree or whatever. They are handy. But yeah, they're very, very specialized. Like there's saws for everything, green wood, dry wood, ripping, cut it, cross cutting. Like there's these huge like timber saws, like the Western crosscut saw with the huge like 2-man, whip saws, but the Japanese version it looks wild. It's like it's pretty cool. It's hard to describe, but you'd have to look up a picture.
Um, Morgan, Jamie talked about on the last episode and mentioned just now like that he had an orchard that he likes to tinker around at. I can't remember if you said, do you have like property that you do projects or have like orchard or gardening?
yeah. It's kind of a hobby that's kind of getting out of control a little bit. I tend to bite off more than I can chew. So I have I think that the property we live at now it was a test orchard for the more of the, big time orchard that's across the street. It's now defunct. It's gone. All those trees are across the street are no longer there. But these trees remain, and they're all big, older apple trees with various ailments, and most of them are hollow. But I'm kind of limping them along, really doing any pruning for production, just pruning so that they don't fall over.
Yeah.
But I like it. It's fun to. It's fun. They've got character. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm an authority on apple pruning, but it's yeah, it's an experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I pruned a lot of apples. Like my grandparents had apples when I was a kid. And like one thing I ever learned is that apples are very forgiving. Like you could do almost anything to an apple tree and it'll be okay. Like even if you mess it up real bad, you can kind of correct it. Like give it 5 years and you got it back,
Yeah.
And they're like orchards like Watsonville and like Corralitos right nearby. Those were big apple producing places, like really, really major apple production areas. So there's lots of really old trees around here too. Like especially you'll find them in town. It's probably like 100-year-old tree, and it's hollow. There's barely anything. There's barely any wood left, but it's still going. And if you
Yeah.
keep it kind of pruned up and you keep it going, as long as it doesn't fall
Hmm.
apart, it's still alive. Just
Yeah.
prop it up and keep it from being overloaded.
Apple producing area just north of us. I mean, a bike ride away, top of the lake, and then you keep going. There's a place called Rose, New York, and it's supposed to be our, New York's uh, center of the Apple universe. And
Yeah.
it's wild. We were riding our bikes up there, and there started to be this like really kind of sharp smell in the air, and it kept getting stronger. And then these like full on, they looked like silos, like for corn or something, but they were frothing at the top. And then we got closer, they were
Yeah.
wooden, and it was giant vinegar production, apple cider vinegar, and it would
Cool.
it would make your eyes water. It was
Oh
it
yeah,
was
Oh my
wild.
gosh.
Yeah. And then a really
Yeah.
strange building, which is all like block and brick with no windows at all. And evidently that's like the cold storage where they put, I think it's nitrogen maybe in where the apples are to prevent them from getting, going bad, like kind of longer term storage. It's an odd place up
Huh.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, all the apples in this area, they were all juicing or eating apples. So like the Martinelli family, my neighbor actually, she's the granddaughter of the Martinellis. So she's like the
Oh,
heiress to the Martinelli empire. And
wow.
then the origin of the Bartlett pear, that's just up the road in Ben Lomond. I actually
Huh.
worked at the house, and the guy was showing me pictures of the old orchard. That was where the Bartlett pear, the pear was crafted or selected and then distributed. The guy,
Hmm.
Bartlett himself had the place. So yeah, it's a big like fruit producing like, and then strawberries, of course. Like Watsonville's like produces like 70% of the strawberries that we eat
Yeah.
or something like that.
Wow.
It's insane. Yeah. But yeah, it's all different varieties of apples because we don't get it doesn't freeze, it doesn't snow. It gets cold, we'll get
Right.
frost, but so I think a different variety of apple is. And also I think back east, like there's a big history of like cider apples, like you know making cider was the thing you did with apples like way back in the day. Like people weren't just eating them out of hand most of the time. They were cidering them or they were storing them, cooking with them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There seems to be quite a movement around here. There's been there's the Finger Lakes region has a lot of wine producers, but they also have a lot of cider producers now. And I think they just changed the
Hmm.
law. So if you have a cidery or a winery, you can sell right out of your, the back of your shed or whatever, which is,
Right.
really promoted that, which is cool.
Well, that's
Yeah,
encouraging
that
that
is
they're
cool.
going opposite of regulation. Seems like
Yeah.
oftentimes they're adding more regulation, and so it's nice that they have gone the opposite way. So,
Yeah, that's true.
well, you live in a pretty wintry area, I imagine, up there, Morgan, with snow. So, how do you guys adjust in the wintertime? Do you pick up kind of other hobbies or things that you get into when you get a lot of snow?
I think I can blame the unicender on that. Like the fact that it's so cold here, and also it's that cold that you kind of limit what you can do, and so you end up puttering in the shop and trying to keep yourself busy. So that I think it was a cold winter, that first winter when I was developing the unicender, where it was we were indoors for weeks on end, and I get
Yeah,
going a little stir crazy.
man, that's awesome. Well, without, you can get into whatever you want to divulge, but yeah, so what were kind of the origin story of the Unicender and how you have brought it to where it is now? I know that you were showing me some modifications or things that you were looking into at the booth, but yeah, maybe share with us on that.
Sure. Okay. That first one, I think, was kind of inspired by. Do you know that what's it called? The rack, where it has two vertical pins that one of them you tie into with your. It's a descender, like a friction descender, and then on those pins there are these levers that can fold in, and the rope gets threaded through those, and you can select the number of levers you want. I think it's called a rack. Um,
Yeah, it's just a
so
rappel rack or
that
a
was
rack.
kind of a rappel rack. Okay. So that kind of idea of being able to thread the rope through, I think, was the beginning of kind of thinking about like maybe you could make something that would you know be something you could rappel on, but how could you get it so that you could push it up the rope without it not making friction that way, like low friction up, plenty of friction down, and I think it kind of snowballed from there.
Hmm.
But it was, I think also I had this toy when I was a kid where it was like a whole bunch of rollers, about an inch in diameter, wooden rollers, and in the middle they were all connected by a chain link, the flat chain, kind of like the outside link of the unicender, and it made it so you could fold them back on themselves, and make like a little triangle teepee, and as it rolled forward, the bottom ones are rolling forward, the second ones are rolling, the next one's rolling forward again. I was obsessed with that toy, and I think that might have something like chain links are just fun to play with. So who the heck? Basically, that first one was a boat anchor. It was weighed a ton, as big as my head, and then it slowly got refined. And then I started making them, and let's see, TCIA show in somewhere in California. We went, and Tom Dunlap, he saw it, and he was like, "Hey, what's that?" And I explained it to him, and he's like, "Oh man, I think that's what I've been looking for." So he kind of, you know, started using it, and I started making more of them. But I was making them at night in the shop that I work at, and it started getting crazy. So many people asking, and I just felt bad on because I couldn't keep up. I was making them one at a time with, it was so rough edged, I guess. I was filing the edges down and worrying about, damaging the rope and whatever. So I think I made close to 100 of them, and it was at that point where I was like, producing, and I think it was Tom Dunlap who said, you should talk to Rock Exotica. The stuff they make is second to none. And so I talked to Rock, and he really he went on a limb, so to speak, I guess, for me. I went and I showed him, and he was like, "Yeah." So that was a pretty big deal. And then they started producing them, and the rest is history, I guess. Except for now, the exciting thing is that it's been around for years and years. It was probably one of the first, kind of sender, descender, or multi-sender. And then, that kind of seemed to get the ball rolling, and all these other devices started coming up. And now it's just incredible how many great options there are, and how the whole world is just blown up. But now it's like, so Jaime has been working on all these additions that you saw on the Uni 2 prototype. Those are all Jaime's innovations. That top handle,
I think
that it has a little thumb that pushes on the rope and kind of improves the bend. It makes the bend less tight over the top flexes, grip point. And by pulling down on that handle, it kind of lessens its bite and allows you to descend. Like the old unicender was kind of a 0 to 60. It was fast, too fast. And so this allows you to kind of feather it and get that like 0 to 5, ease in, So I'm excited. I mean, that's pretty cool. Plus that whole, I don't know, Jaime exemplifies this, but that whole, it just seems like you guys in general are solution finders. We're in an environment that is, a fractal environment, and everyone is different, and you have to come up with a different solution every time. And so seeing some of the, adaptations or innovations that people have had over time with the unicender doing their own modifications. At first I was like, oh, that's, yeah, like, be careful, But really, it's kind of cool how many different people have taken and made it their own. It's really pretty.
Well, it's been around for such a long time that like people have really had a lot of time to really think about like, oh, what works, what doesn't work,
Right.
this thing works great, this thing, yeah, not so much. And then like you like since like the first day I met you, every single TCIA we've been to, you've had like some unicenter prototype with some like modification or other. And so like the one we had at TCIA this time is like basically everything on there but the lever is something that was sort of distilled from prototypes that you had earlier or something I saw from, somebody else out there that had, the roller, the gate, like all that stuff is like, it's all out there. It's like, you've had all of that stuff. It's like, okay, well, let's just see if we can put it all
Mm-hmm.
together in a package that makes sense. It's like, what are the goals and how do we get there? There's so many things to pick from. Like everybody's come up with these like millions of different modifications. Like, oh yeah, that one, I like that one. You had the top clutch that splits into two pieces. Like I have one here that you sent me that's like it's got magnets holding it together. It's like, oh yeah,
All
that's
right.
that's the way to do it for that one. And then like the gate, same thing. There's tons of different gates, like springs and clips and rollers. You had one that you pull out and you twist. It's like, okay, let's like, what's the simplest gate we can come up with? That's like sturdy and simple. Like,
Like,
you know,
right.
yeah. And then even a
That
lever, like
whole
we talked a long time ago. We were like, oh yeah, it'd be cool. Like really liking the thumb lever on the ART spider jack. Like, oh, it's such a cool concept of like, pushing with your thumb to sort of modulate your lever, your friction and how fast you go. Where it's like you release it completely with the fingers, and then you use your thumb to really like kind of control your descent. So the whole genesis of that lever was like, oh, maybe we could do that with the unicenter because on single rope it's really hard to like, it's hard to break it. It was like, oh, if I could add friction and then maybe it'd be easier to break and I could modulate it with that. But then it just sort of like in practice it didn't quite work that way. It kind of like turned into what it is now, where it's like, okay, the lever actually pushes the rope away from the friction element and kind of breaks the friction for you. And then, but it just, it came from that, like, oh, that spider jack leveler is so cool. Like, how could we
yeah.
incorporate that? I'm still trying to figure out how to incorporate it with the akimbo, but I haven't figured out. I haven't figured out that one yet.
On the art, the fact that they use a little piece of wood, I feel like it's such a
Yeah.
great tip of the hat to, our industry and our,
Yeah.
that's such a good wearing, surface. That's so
Hmm.
cool. Kind of like
Yeah.
the original, like Kevin's original or one of the original rope wrenches that were it was a
Solid
stick. It
wood.
was like a round
Yeah.
piece of wood.
Mm.
Well, cool. I mean, what a
Yeah.
great tip of the hat to, um, the environment we work in. So that's
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Morgan and Jamie, did you guys get connected through Rock, or did you guys run into each other before that and kind of do some innovation together?
No, rock. It was so like I started talking to Rock Exotica, and they were like, we make the unicenter because like, it's like you start talking to them. It's like, oh yeah, you're gonna market my thing. And it's like, oh, but we market this other thing. It's in the same, it's the same functional thing, right? It's in the same market. Are you worried about competing against each other? It's like, well, no, not really. I think the Unicenter is awesome. So, you know, that was kind of like I knew that the Unicenter was made by Rock Exotica. And I think like that was a big thing. It's like the aesthetics of all the things they made. And like the Unicenter was kind of like the flagship of their aesthetics as far as like the tree world goes. Like they do lots of rock, rescue and rock climbing stuff, but it's like if you're a tree worker, the Unicenter, and that's kind of like Rock Exotica for like the tree worker, right? So it's like, oh yeah, that thing is awesome. I like the aesthetic. I like everything about it. So it's like, yeah, no, of course, I don't care. That's awesome. Even that's better even. And then we didn't meet until TCIA, 2019 or 2020.
At that point, partly because I had been following your progression. I actually really loved that whole experience of being. You did such a good job of drawing us all in during the development of the akimbo. It was
Oh yeah.
it was so cool to just be like watching the conversation and all the ideas that were percolating in, and then you would come back like uncannily fast. Like, oh, that's a good idea. And then like hours later, you'd be like, oh, here, check this out, guys.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
wow,
that,
this
like
is
half the
cool.
time, I
And
just like
then,
run to the
and
garage
then
real
when,
quick and be like, oh wait.
and then there was that first run, and it was cool because it was, if I remember correctly, that was like it was kind of crowdsourced, right? That was a
Yeah, it was a
GoFundMe thing,
GoFundMe.
and I still have that first
Hmm.
one. I won't run it on a rope because it's got I'm leaving it pristine. One of the very that first run, it kind of felt like being part of, you know, part of it. It was cool.
Yeah,
I was
that's awesome.
blown away with, so like the GoFundMe, you know, as people like donate their names come up, and I was like, I saw your name and I was like, oh, no way. And I saw like Kevin Bingham like donating something. I was like, what? No way. This is awesome.
Yeah, that was so fun, so cool.
Man.
A roller coaster though.
Yeah. Well, even the most recent process where you were, really digging in and kind of in that innovative flow state with that top handle and the unicender modifications. It felt a little bit like that. Like you get on a roll and watch out. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. I wonder if I'm like manic or something sometimes, because I'll lose like all motivation for like 3 or 4, 6 months, you know. Like with the
Right.
Akimbo
That's,
2, you know, I'd go through fits and starts where like I'd be really focused on it. I'd work on it for 2 or 3 months, and then I just kind of like get discouraged or just have other stuff and just like not touch it for a while. But yeah, when I started like the first picture I sent you of the Uni 2 with like the Kimbo top part, like just out of the scrap bin, like as soon as I saw that, as soon as I tested it and it kind of worked, I was like, ah, this is like, now this is exciting.
yeah.
Like, you know, now I can really sink my teeth into it. And then it didn't hurt that I was like stuck at home for a month, so I didn't have really anything else to do, you know, but work on projects.
Like this is therapy. Don't get in the way. This is
Yeah.
this is good. This is good stuff. I feel like that's
Right.
very much the case for me. Is being able to like really delve in feels like, I don't want to say an escape, but it's very feeding in some way. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I would imagine you guys walking into your shops respectively, and like you like walk in the door and your mind's going to this like matrix mode and just numbers and like ratios start running across your.
Yeah. My mind,
I wish it was
goes
like
straight to
that. But
why is my shop
the
such a
phone rings.
pigsty? It's like, yeah, I'm a terrible person. I should clean my shop. This thing is terrible. This is horrible. How do I do anything in here? That's what happens when I go into my shop.
Wading through all these piles of cast offs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got like, I do a lot of woodworking in my shop too. So it's like, you know, I've got wood scraps. There's like sawdust mixed with aluminum shavings, and like just it's chaos. I don't know how I actually get anything done in here. But you know, it must happen. It happens.
The sawdust and aluminum and the sawdust and aluminum.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can see what I've been working on lately with what's on top.
Yeah.
And if I haven't been working on anything lately, there's mouse poop everywhere.
Last episode we didn't get to get into the Downrigger, but I know it's something that Rock has been marketing as well. But I would love to hear about the Downrigger. And was that something that you guys kind of teamed up on together at Rock, or how did that get started?
It was one of the TCIA shows. I usually just put everything that I'm working on in my bag and then bring it, and then and then sometimes I chicken out and don't show anything. But I had been playing with this idea where there's kind of like a rigging ring and another rigging ring, And so the bite would go through that first rigging ring and then around the second rigging ring. And so what it did is when the second rigging ring, when the rope got tensioned, the second rigging ring would get jammed against the first rigging ring. I don't know if that makes sense, but basically it was a way of having it be a midline attachable, extra friction, maybe even proportional friction device. And that was like, I was trying to ask myself, like, could you make something that the more you load it, the more it engages? Like, that would be really nice, because then it would be proportional to the load that you dump into it. Well, I don't know if the physics of that actually work, but it's worth trying, right? So then Jamie and I were talking about it, and you could almost tell, you could see the gears starting to turn.
What?
And like really quickly, things started percolating for Jamie, and really that the Downrigger is really, maybe that was my, that was like just a concept or a thought, but really that whole device is Jamie's, like, applying that idea into something that was actually useful and worked well.
Well, you showed me that prototype you had. It's like you said, there was like the rigging ring. I think you had like a big rigging ring, and it had a piece of aluminum, like oval tubing welded to it, and then like a Delrin roller that was like the second rigging ring, so the rope went up and through. And so, like, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like, I thought the idea was like insane, awesome, but I was like, oh, I want to try that, right? But then I don't have the tools or skills to weld aluminum. So I was like, okay, I can make flat stuff. Like, I can cut and bolt aluminum together. So I just took the concept and just tried to flatten it, right? Make it two-dimensional. Instead of a ring, just it's 2 points in space, and then you run it up and over another oval. So like I sort of like started with, basically, you imagine that whole setup, that whole device that Morgan had, and just cut it in half. And what does it look like cut in half? And then can I make that like flat, so it's just 1/2 inch thick with a rope pad? And then it kind of like evolved to where it's like, okay, now I have it where it's, there's 2 points. Like, actually, I have it right here. We got video. So this was the first, like,
cool
iteration of it, right? So then there's the bollard on the other side. So then there's like, it's basically these 2 points would be the ring cut in half, right? Imagine a ring going around. And then it was just sort of like a job of like chasing down, like, what is the actual essential part of this? Like, what is giving you the friction? So, like, you don't need both sides of the rigging ring. Only one side of the rigging ring is actually providing the friction. And then it's just sort of like iterating on different versions of, like, where should the piece pivot? How should it open? Like, when it opens, like, all those little things kind of going back and forth, and then just sending pictures and pictures and pictures back to Morgan and be like, hey, what do you think about this? What about this? What about this? Like, what are your ideas on this? And they're like, and then Morgan coming back and like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Like, oh, what if you do this? And then just kind of like, like, this is 3D printed, just plastic. And so just having that capability to like make like 5 or 6 different versions, in a week, is like, it was really happen.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. Because it's like, oh, I just put a rope on it and that didn't work at all like I thought it was going to work. I didn't have to waste a bunch of time like making an aluminum version, or, spending all that time and energy on it. So, but yeah, that was another one where it was like, oh, this is kind of working. Like, I'm excited about this. And it was just like,
well, the other
manic, I
thing
guess.
is like being already in the Rock Exotica, environment, to be able to say, oh, wouldn't it be cool to have like a swivel? And it's like, oh, well, Rock Exotica already makes that nice swivel. Like, oh, just cut and paste. And then like the double acting swivel lock, like for not the swivel, but the gate or the
Button.
plate lock. Like, oh man, that's still the best thing out there for the
Yeah.
Omni pulley. Like, oh, just apply that.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah, I think like just being able to be like call them and be like, hey, can I get some swivel pieces? Like, can you just send
Yeah.
those to me? Like, oh yeah, here you go. Like, oh,
Right.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
I love it.
It saved me 2 months of labor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, the same with the button. With
Yeah,
like,
those
I
Omni
think the
blocks
first,
are some of my favorite.
yeah, they're great. They bribed me when I went to visit the factory, like with the very first Akimbo prototypes. They gave me one of the Omni like 2.6. And I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Straight up bribe. Oh
Uh,
yes, I would love to.
oh my gosh.
The
What
carry-on got heavier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what number it is, but the one that's like a dark red and navy plate on the back, it's like one of the
Yeah.
bigger ones, but that is it's an insane block. I love that one.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
chonker. I have one, I think, somewhere. I don't know where it is right now. But yeah, they gave me one of those at one point too. I was like, "Oh, really? What am I going to do with this?" Like,
I think I'm gonna just put this thing on my pillow and sleep with it.
well, I took it to work and rigged with it one day just to say that I had. You know, it's like I can put a 3/4 inch blow rope in this. I'm
Yeah.
going to try it. You know, and it works great, but it's heavy as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Do they make does Rock make those gosh, what do you call them? They have the block swivels on each side and you can read like ratings of dynamic loads.
Yeah. Hmm.
Do they?
It's called the Enforcer, load cell.
Oh yeah.
Enforcer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are really neat.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah,
great.
those are neat.
I mean,
I saw
I
they
use
had
one
a
for testing
prototype on
stuff
the
all the
table.
time.
It was like more of a solid built one with 2 holes in it. It doesn't have the swivels. It was just a solid brick of aluminum, and it looks even burlier. I don't think it's available yet,
Yeah.
but it's coming soon.
Do
I
you,
saw that
Morgan?
Hart
Oh,
had one
sorry.
like
Go
that
ahead.
too at their booth, like a solid
Yeah.
piece load cell like that.
It was
Go ahead.
interesting. If you grabbed it from the side and squeezed it, you could get a reading as well. It just
Huh.
blows my mind. It still doesn't really make sense to me that that's detecting the stretch of the aluminum.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. Morgan, do you have a load cell on your knuckle boom similar to that, or is it just a hook?
Yeah, I'm a stickler for that. It still blows me away that some people run a knuckle boom crane just reading the flex in the boom.
Oh wow.
That's a little beyond me. And because my crane is so light, I really don't have a lot of leeway. I really need to be able to know the load, because when I'm all the way 85 feet horizontal, it's only 815 pounds is max. And so I really need to be able to measure each pick so that you take a small one to start, and then that gives you a kind of a baseline. Because every tree, it's just amazing, depending on the season, depending on how much water is in it, it can vary, I don't know, a surprising amount. Pine cones, how much, the thing that still gets me every once in a while is where the tree comes up, and if there's kind of a place where there were a lot of branch collars, or a lot of, kind of a lot of limby stuff coming off of it, that piece will be considerably heavier. I mean, it makes sense because it's denser in those, supporting branch collars is dense wood. But
Yeah, all that knot wood.
it is amazing how that can really trick you. You have to be careful.
Yeah.
So we have one called I think it's made in Israel. The one that we have, and I like it because it's short, and it's 15 ton, I think. we ended up having to put it in a Pelican box to protect it with foam in there because it's a rework is a little too tough
Is it
for
Is it
Yeah.
an
wired, or
unprotected
is it
one.
like
So it looks a
wireless?
little hokey. There's a big yellow box at the end of the crane hanging there, but then all the slings hang off of that.
Hmm.
The radio remote. So there's a little readout that I carry with the remote for the crane. So it helps with pre-tensioning too. Because
Yeah.
the knuckle boom, unlike like a stick boom, I mean, you know this, but the stick boom, just doesn't flex very much. And so if you're a little underweight, the piece might dip a little bit. But with the knuckle boom, it's like a big, spring steel bow. And if you're a little underweight, it really dips a lot.
Yeah.
So, or if you're pre-tension, it's bomb. So
Yeah.
I like having a load cell.
Yeah. I like the ones that we never had this at my previous company, but I know some of the guys around the country that have it where it connects to an app on the phone. I was like always
Yeah.
super jealous when I would see that because then you could get like real time results, uh, at least for the knuckle booms, and like on your iPhone see, what you were pre-tensioning and then what it came off as. Yeah.
Yeah. I even see a graph. Like I like that the Rock Exotica Enforcer. The app on that it's like a continuous uh, line on your phone or on your computer, and then it bumps up to show you the peak forces. And you can
Yeah.
have like up to 6 of them, I think. So you have all these different lines coming across, and you can see the uh, readout. It's neat,
Hmm.
but it's not quite. I don't. I think it's a 10,000 pound breaking strength, and you're not supposed to really. I think it's if you go over 4,000 pounds, it has a little warning that shows up on the screen that it's no longer for life support.
Hmm.
I just feel like it's maybe a little light for crane work.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're craning like potted plants into the backyard.
Right. That's exactly right.
Man. Well, that's awesome. It's been great talking all the gear and the things you guys have worked on and are working on. We will close it out here in a couple minutes, but Morgan, I'd love to hit you with two little quick fire questions.
Sure.
So I think we covered this with Jamie, but do you have a favorite memory or tree experience or a job that you can think of?
Uh, like a funny one, or just a favorite?
It could be like funny, memorable, just like something that sticks out to you of like, oh, I remember this year when this happened, or something fun.
Yeah. Well, the funny one to me is that me and my buddy Keith, in the early days, we were in D.C. because that's where his parents live, and we were doing tree work down there. And we were taking down a big, I think it was a scarlet oak that was in trouble and kind of over a bunch of different properties. And it might have been, it was a lot. Might have bit off more than we could chew. So we're on our second day of it, third day of it, I can't remember. And we were getting ready to do the felling notch, and we were cutting. And this lady who was walking her dog came by and said, "Hey, that's not how you cut a tree." And we kind of stopped and like, that's a funny thing to say. And then she was like, "You're doing that all wrong." And it was like, yeah, make a suggestion. And she was like getting quite worried about it. And so she went off, and then the police showed up. And so we're talking to the police, and they're like, "Seems like you know what you're doing." We explained, this is how it's done in the industry. You cut this notch, and you cut the back cut, and we're going to pull it over. And um, they were like, "Oh, I think, carry on. But we're going to stick around just in case, we just want to see this. It's kind of interesting, kind of fun." So we felled the tree, and it was kind of good that they were there actually because it got quite a peanut gallery watching, and it went over and it was fine. But it was just a funny thing to, I still wish that I had gotten a chance to talk to her more about like what her idea of how you
Yeah.
take down a tree.
What should we do? What do you expect us to do?
Right. I mean, I'm sure there's many ways to do this, but this is the one I know.
That's funny. Um, do you have a favorite tree?
Let's see. I guess I mean, there are a few trees around our town that are just amazing, kind of noteworthy trees. Um, there's an arboretum at Cornell which has just an amazing assortment of gorgeous trees, and they take good care of them. So it's fun to go walking up there. But in terms of a type of tree, I think um, probably a hackberry or a ginkgo maybe.
Hmm.
Partly because those seem like the ones around here at least that we never really get to work on. It's really really a treat when you get to work on them because they don't really have any ailments. They don't seem to go bad. I like the way they look. I love the bark on a hackberry. It's got these kind of almost, kind of forky square nodes on the bark
Yeah.
that are pretty cool.
Yeah, I like
That's
ginkgos a
funny.
lot.
That's funny you mentioned the hackberry because when I lived in Kansas, they had a similar bark to that where it was like dotted and rigid, and they were pretty unique there. But then I moved to Nashville, and there's a mix between hackberries and sugarberries here. But I mean, it's probably the most common tree in all of this county. I mean,
It is.
that just everywhere you look, there's rows of them. I mean, it's wild. So it has a completely different feel or like perception here. Like people kind of perceive them as trash here because there's so many of them.
Really?
Yeah,
Because they're pretty few and far between here. So when we see one, it's kind of like cool, and they
yeah,
seem to be pretty trustworthy. Like I would have one in my yard if maybe I could do that.
yeah.
But
It seems like they were super reliable, like in the Midwest, but for some reason here, I don't know if it's like exposure to construction and like the expansion of like the metro area, but they have a really bad problem here with like brittle cinder fungus, which is
oh,
Crechlemeria adusta. It's like type of white rot, but
oh boy,
they can get pretty dangerous here. But
and and they're big.
yeah.
Do they get to be really tall and big girthy trees?
Oh yeah, I mean, in some of the older areas of town, it's not uncommon to see them like between like 32 to 48-inch trunks, and
Yeah.
Oh,
they'll get in clumps and all that. But I think in the timber environment, I can appreciate them a lot more. More single
How are
trunk
they?
and
How are they for working in? I mean, they kind of have some pretty neat structure sometimes, like nice
oh
upright
yeah,
standing.
yeah. If they're sturdy, they can be really fun to climb. They can get pretty tall, and then some of the sugar berries, which are like the smoother barked ones, they'll have like a bigger crown spread, and the limbs
Yeah,
instead of being more like vase and long and straight, they'll have a lot more curve and shape to them. So it's pretty cool.
yeah, neat. I've never seen a sugarberry. Someday I gotta see one of those. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Hard to tell apart, but they are unique. So
that's that's funny how it goes. Where like yeah, they're kind of revered and sought after here, and then when you have a whole forest of them, yeah, it's not the same. Yeah,
man. Well, awesome. We are wrapping up with time, but I super appreciate you guys taking the time out of your week. And yeah, I enjoyed the
yeah,
conversation. It was a lot of fun.
yeah.
So
yeah,
Thanks for
for sure.
having me. That was really fun.
cool. Well, yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up, but we'll reach out to you guys at the end of this podcast. And I hope everybody listening enjoyed. Feel free to reach out to Jamie or Morgan if you had questions for them or of course, the shameless plug of go buy their rock stuff if you are interested too. So, all righty. Well, we will catch you guys on the flip side. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
All
Take
right.
it easy.